Saturday, the 4th of July, a live stream like many others. Earlier in the stream, I had shown an owner's completed 65 reissue Princeton Reverb with its new, much better sounding reverb tank, and all was well. I turned the amp on about 30 minutes before the start of the stream, and about an hour and a half into the stream, we got a 4th of July fireworks show. But if it's just another black one and you can get another one just like it, don't worry about, hey, did y'all hear that? Let's see if you hear the next one. It just went, I'm looking at the line voltage of the house. It's staying, there it goes again. We may have a problem with this amp happening in real time. That's why when I do work on an amp, I leave it running for a good long time. Let me take a look at the output tubes. I'm not hearing any hum, but that's not the kind of noise we should be hearing in this amp just sitting here. Because before it made those noises, you couldn't even hear that it was on. So let me take a peek at the tubes. Now, during the live stream, I opened the amp up and tried to show what was wrong, but given how I had the camera and lights set up, I couldn't really show too much. So here we go. We're going to do this in detail. The first thing that I smelled and then saw was that this resistor here, which is the 1K, in this case 1 watt, dropping resistor between the reservoir and screen nodes, which takes the place of a choke in the Princeton, had burned. You can see it's got some charring and some heat damage on the board, though that should clean up just fine, which meant that there was way too much current being drawn from this side, the screen node. Often that would be a sign that one of the 6v6s was bad, and or that the screen dropping resistor had burned. In this case, these were some new 3 watt 470 ohm Vishés, and they are just fine, and the tubes look just fine. I don't think that that's the problem. I don't think that's the cause of the current. In fact, I know it's not. I'll show you that in a moment. But those resistors do often burn in the 65 reissue Princeton and other Fender reissues, so I move them off the PCB and onto the octal socket as shown. So if they do get hot, they're dissipating heat into the air, not onto a board. It just makes the amp more reliable. What did go wrong with this groove tubes labeled 12AT7? It's not very common for AT7s to do a hard short, but in this case, this one did. Usually they run really hot before they fail, and when they run really hot, the lettering gets faded. It'll go to tan or white. No sign of that here. And I don't have a tube tester, but I know this is the culprit because any other failure mode would have been in the transformer, not the tube. I've had that happen where there'll be a short in the primary of the transformer or a short from the primary to ground in the transformer. That's not the case. All this measures fine, but as you can see with this cap that's up in the air, I didn't put it there. Here's the other side of it. This cap exploded, and there's little bits of stuff all throughout the amp. It looks like little shreds of cotton. I'll get all that out. And the associated cathode resistor here, which is a 2.2K, did the same trick as the dropping resistor. It's got some burn damage on the board. They do use flame-proof resistors in these reissues, which I guess is nice, but it still puts some discoloration on the board. I imagine what happened was that this drew too much current and got way too hot, and as a result, accelerated this capacitor's, or shortened this capacitor's lifespan. Either that or we had a huge voltage spike. But then again, there are current limitations for capacitors as well. Anyway, this all looks horrible, but it should clean up pretty easily. So I'm going to pull this board again and change out this resistor, this capacitor, and this resistor down here. Then I'll put everything back together and test it out with a new 12AT7, not that old one. And then I'm going to give it about 12 hours of running to make sure that there's nothing else in the amp that could possibly cause this problem. Logically, there should not be, but sometimes we expand our knowledge in new and exciting ways. So let me get to work, and we'll be back with this in just a moment. Well, here it's all buttoned up again. It's working just fine. Got a new 2 watt metal film 1K here, elevated off the board. Half watt 2.2K, new 22 microfarad, new 12AT7. Well, I'll test 12AT7. I'll order them a joint Army-Navy, Phillips or Sylvania. Everything's working fine. I removed all the burn material under here and under here, and I got all the carbon layer off, and there was some exposed inner board there, and I sealed it with some clear nail polish. And all is well, except the G string on his 335, it's kind of dead at the nut. It's getting dampened at the nut, so that nut slot might need some work. It's kind of dead in comparison to the other string. If I fret at the 3rd fret and above, it's fine. So it's not the saddle, it's at the nut. That can happen with old nuts. It's a 70 or 71 335 with the T-tops, and it sounds great. Sounds like a slightly fatter Telecaster, as they ought to do. Anyway, I'm going to let this run another hour or two, just to make sure I've not missed anything. I don't think I have, but it's, time will tell. And while that runs, I'm going to put this video together, and then I'm going to turn my attention to the G string. It's possible just an old string, too, but, I want him to get his time's worth when he gets his back. Thanks for watching.